In Learning Objective 4.5, we're going to talk about how do you evaluate sine, cosine, and tangent using the unit circle. And what I want to do is show you the difference between two things. We've been doing this stuff right here, right now, finding the sine of pi over 4. So let's just take a quick look at that. To find the sine of pi over 4, first thing that we know is the sine value means to find the y value. So my brain is looking for the y's. And I'm just going to move pi over 4 units, which is going to land me right here. And then when they want to do that, what is the sine of pi over 4? We see that the answer here is the square root of 2 over 2. So we could easily answer this problem, and we would write it as this. Now, what this section is about, it's kind of reversing it or finding the inverse. This time what they're going to do is they're not going to put a value in for x. Up here the value of x was pi over 4. Now they're going to say the sine of my angle, and they tend to use x. What you might see instead, sometimes they will write it even more so. They'll do the sine of theta, and they're going to say equals the square root of 2 over 2. So that's the same thing, by the way, the sine of x or the sine of theta. This x value here is just a variable like we use in algebra. This x value does not mean the x-axis. When I look at this equation here, it says the sine of x equals the square root of 2 over 2. But again, what that x means is the angle, so their question is the sine of the angle equals the square root of 2 over 2. Where on the unit circle does the sine of my angle equal square root of 2 over 2? Well, my brain's going to think the same thing. My brain sees the word sine, and because I know that they're asking for the sine value, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to think about the y's. So the question is, where is the y of the angle equal to this value? Well, if I go to the unit circle, I'm going to find that it's right here is the first thing, and it actually happens at pi over 4. So for this particular one, how it differs is what they're going to say is the answer to this is pi over 4. So really what you're seeing, again, they're kind of more like inverses. This one, I'm going to look at the circle and move the angle measurement and find the y value. This one I go backwards. I go to the unit circle and I find where is the y value that, and I define the actual angle. Let's do two official problems on this though. So the first one in our notes we're going to see is they're going to ask us this one we just talked about. It says here, where is the sine of x equaling to the square root of 2 over 2? Again, be careful what they could have just meant here too, and I'm going to rewrite it. This is the same thing. The sine of theta is equal to the square root of 2 over 2. Okay, means the same thing. So when I read this, what I'm looking for is they want the sine value. So I know I'm looking for the y value. And this just means of the angle, or right here of the angle. So look and see where is the y value equal to the square root of 2 over 2. And we always start, as we know right here, at our 0 degrees. I'm going to first move, and I find the very first value is right here. Now, the difference in this problem is they're going to ask you a few things. Because this is a circle, I can continue to go around the circle many, many times. So if I keep going around the circle, there's going to be infinitely many answers to this problem. There's just not one answer. The only answer to this is not at 45 degrees or pi over 4. How many times do you want me to go around the circle? You need to read that. You're going to be asked to find the first two positive positions. So if we do that, again, I'm starting here. My first one is here, which is going to be at pi over 4 or 45 degrees. If I continue on, where do you see the next one happening? Again, I'm looking for positive square root of 2 over 2 for the y's. And if I continue to move, it actually happened right here. Okay, so it did happen in our next rotation. So if I mark that off, I'm going to go here. It happened one more time. And I'm going to say at 3 pi over 4. Now, what if they asked me for even the third position? So let me show you this. This is the first time it happens. Here's the second time. Again, if I keep going around the circle, I don't see it happening again until I go one more time. So think about it. I'm going to go one full circle, and now I'm going to go another quarter circle. So the next time it's going to happen is going to be at the value of 2 and 1/4 pi. Well, we don't write it as mixed, so the improper fraction for this is going to be at 9/4 of a pi, or 9 pi over 4 would be the third time. And then I could continue going around the circle, and I could find the fourth time and so forth. Now, they're also going to ask you to find the first negative value, which it happens. So for negative, again, I'm going to start here, and I know I go backwards. So it's going to be a little bit trickier. As we go backwards, the first time I find the y value to be the positive square root of 2 over 2, as we do this, is going to happen right here. So if I mark that one, it's going to happen here. Now careful, the rotation on that was backwards. So you're going to have to be thoughtful what it was. It was negative, and if we take a look at this, it was negative 1 piece of pi plus a quarter. So if you want to look at it this way, you could say 1 and 1/4 of a pi. Again, that's a mixed fraction. We want it as improper. That actually is the same number as negative 5 pi over 4. So the first negative value, you would have to tell someone to move negative 5/4 of a pi to land right here. Now again, the negatives can be trickier because you're not going to read the answers of what you see on the circle. You're not going to say it happens at 3/4 of a pi. 3/4 of a pi positive value is here. 3/4 of a pi negative value actually lands you right here at 5 pi over 4. So you have to be a little more thoughtful on finding that. Let's do another one. Now this one here is going to switch gears. It's going to ask us for where's the cosine of x equal to 1. Again, remember that word cosine is going to define x, but this little x here, I'm just going to rewrite it. Maybe they would have said the cosine of theta equals 1, means the same thing. So as I interpret this one, that when they say cosine, what they mean is they want me to look at the x's. So I'm going to look at the x values on the circle. And then when I know when does that angle is what that refers to. So when does the x value of the angle equal the number 1? Well, I'm going to always start right here, and I'm going to look for the x value equaling 1. Well, there's my first one right there. So I'm going to go ahead and say, well, here's the first one. I'm going to do this one in degree mode. If it was in degrees, it'd be at 0 degrees. But I want the first two positive, so I'm going to go ahead and continue on. And I'm going to look, when does the x value equal positive 1? And I'm not seeing it happening again until I land here one more time. So when I did that, what I did, my first one was here at 0 degrees. I had to go a full circle rotation and I landed there again, and we would now call that one 360 degrees. Well, let's again say maybe we want to do the third position. Again, as we go around, it's not going to happen until we land here, which would have been a second rotation. So if they wanted 3 positions, I would have said 720 degrees. Now let's talk about the backwards. To go backwards, again, I want to know when does the x value of the angle equal the number 1. I'm starting here and I go backwards, and we're not going to see it happen until we do one complete rotation. And this was going backwards, so if I sketch that one out, right, the angle movement for that would be at negative 360 degrees. Now I want to talk about one more that's not in your note packet, just about tangent. What if I gave you this problem? Again, I'm just going to show you this as an equation. The tangent, or the slope of the angle, right, is what that means, of x. So if I wanted to, I could just recognize that this also means, again, the tangent of theta. They want to know where is the tangent of the theta undefined. So what this one is actually asking us, hey, tangent means slope. Where is the slope of the angle undefined? Undefined means vertical. And if I'm going to do this one, let's sketch it out. I'm going to start here. I'm looking for where it first happens. It's right here. Now, depending if they wanted degrees or radians, if they wanted degrees, I would say 90 degrees. If they wanted radians, I would say at pi over 2 radians. That's the first movement. Does it happen again in that first rotation? Absolutely. It's going to happen one more time right here. Again, we could either say at 270 or at 3 pi over 2. Now, when I go backwards on this one, the first backwards or negative one is going to be right here, which this does happen to be negative pi over 2 is the first negative one. And that's how you can go about doing these types of problems.